Did you say heavy breastises? Welcome to the Beat Around the Bench podcast, a podcast about woodworking, good times, and general jackassery, with your hosts, Jess of Jess Build It, Colton of Colt Crit, and Ross of RNC Woodworking and Designs. You can find us all on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. In this week's episode, we dive deep into the ups and downs of working in your passion. Colton discusses getting nutted in his whiskey. Jess talks about going to a Mexican shoe store. And Ross gives instructions on how to give just the tip real sharp. All of that and more is coming right up on this episode of the Beat Around the Bench podcast. Now, for episode 74, The Devil Wears Panga Panga. I figured because it's New York Fashion Week, we had to bust out this one. You know, and also I had to look up other, because I was running out of wood species that start with the letter P. There's basically like, because we've used Paduke, we've used pine, we've used a couple others. So
I do like that. The Devil Wears Paduke.
Yeah, that could also
but
work.
Panga Panga, that's a hard one to put into a title.
I mean, the easy one would have been Kung Fu Panga Panga, but
yeah.
I just because of Fashion Week, I stuck with this. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got
you.
Yeah.
As you know, obviously, we are the most fashion conscious podcast in the woodworking world.
I mean, if the shirt that I got at Salvation Army that says Lucille on it,
with like a big
sleeves off of, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the big home cut V-neck really sells it. I like
from,
it.
Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, gentlemen, what is tickling your fancy these days?
I got an update. What was it, like 3 or 4 podcasts ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago? I was talking about like not even being able to answer the phone. And like, what am I saying? Yeah, like I was having to like pull my stripping gloves off, like in the middle of a project to answer a phone of a rowdy customer, right? And it was just like spinning in circles. And first thing Jess said, I think Jess said it. Maybe you did, Ross. But is like, you got to have someone answering phones. And I think she's been with us almost a month now. But we ended up hiring a girl. Her name's Cassidy. And dude, I don't know how we did it without her. Like before, like it's nuts. Like even with her, we're still strapped, but at least now I have someone. I'm like, hey, thanks for your call. Like I'll handle it. I'm like, have you talked to Cassidy yet? And like, yeah, like, all
is she handling all like the admin work then too, of like just follow up for receivables,
scheduling,
and all that stuff?
Yes, all the above. Sending out invoices, handling back end issues.
It's amazing. All of us, kind of back end issues. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All of us have worked on our own business or small businesses before, and you don't really realize how many hats you wear until you start to delegate to somebody else, and you're like, "Wow, I can actually focus on the stuff that I'm really good at, and hand off stuff to something." Hand off the stuff I don't like to people who are really good at those things. And we all work better. It's wild.
It's wild.
Dude, especially on the scheduling side. It's kind of funny. She's like so she's the only girl in XFR, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like full-time employed by XFR. And her, what is it? She's like kind of like our like company mom in a way. And she's like, boys, no, look, this is the schedule this week. We got to get to this. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
I like
it.
And
yeah, she does really well. And she snapped on a customer like yesterday, I think. Well, like it was starting to get hairy, right? Like they had issues, not exactly with our company, but with I think with the insurance, and then maybe like the main movers, right?
Yep.
For like this pack out after some sort of water event. But some of it was like splashing back on us, and when our customer got rowdy, and she was like, "Hold up, no," and shut him down. So I mean, she's strong-willed, and I'm really impressed. Yeah,
good.
And but yeah, I've known her for years too. She's my buddy, the buddy who got me involved with XFR.
Mm-hmm.
He works for our sister company, Alex. It's his girlfriend.
Perfect.
And at first I was like, oh no, you're bringing her into the show. Like, welcome aboard. Like, let's go. But dude, she has fit in amazingly. And
Awesome.
it's a cool thing. It helps. Yeah, it really does help me just to do what I do best. And that's be in the shop.
Awesome.
Yeah, having my when I worked at when I first moved here, there was a store, but then the girls were supposed to handle it, but they did not. And so it would be somebody walking over every 5 seconds. And so finally I was just like, look, I'll deal with the customer. And so it was a lot of texting, and I like to text if I could get the customer to do it, because there was a lot of he said, she said stuff going on.
Yeah.
And this is all in writing. And then also the pictures, okay, well, this stain looks like this. Well, I don't know what that looks like. So you send pictures.
Mhm.
So, but I would spend, I know some days I would just be like, I got nothing done. Like I was talking to customers all day long through text. I'd like do something, my phone would ding, and you can't just leave a customer hanging. You got to
Nope.
talk to them while they're there. But now it's just fantastic. And my wife's like that too. She's like, no, this is, I'll actually go in there and I'll be like, what do I need to do right now? She's like, you need to go and start this because that's got to be ready by this day. I told him this. And the other thing that's great is she keeps in contact, like usually weekly, with upcoming ones. Like, all right, this is where the schedule's at, and we're on schedule to be this, or we might be a few days late. Like, always staying in contact with projects that are way off in the future, but they still like, because it makes it feel like it's a shorter time, because even though we told them it's going to be 2 or 3 months before we could get to it, as long as you're continuing to have contact with them, they seem to feel better about it. It's just
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
So let me ask this: being that you both have somebody that is kind of handling some of the front end stuff, and you guys are able to work kind of the back of house way of working, have you noticed there are certain things that you have to implement, or that this person who's working front of house has to implement, like a daily meeting, or as far as what the schedule is, or like what the timetable is, or do you need to get them an invoice, or at least an inventory list of what you need material wise? Like, how does that work when playing off of each other? For now, you have this other asset. How do you build that in?
I'm fortunate because I ride with her on the way to work. So we chat. We chat about that. And my wife is exceptionally good because working with the doctors that she worked with before, like, hey, can you call about this? And can you do this? And she just stops what she's doing. She writes it on a post-it note. And then, like, she just figures it out. Like, she calls and finds prices for me, or sends an invoice, or reaches out to somebody, or orders something on Amazon for me, or whatever. I don't have to stop. I just, 2 sentences and I'm done with it. And wow, what a big difference. And I mean, she has questions, but that I'm very fortunate with that. And yes, like today, she's like, all right, so we're behind a little bit, so we need to like, you need to like find time at some point, and we need to go through and kind of figure out how long is this going to take. Do we need to order anything ahead of time for this, and so on and so forth, so that this is ready, so we can move on this, and when are we going to deliver it, and go through the schedule again.
Okay.
But we do usually have a meeting with the guys like once a week, and her, and she kind of says her 2 cents and I say my 2 cents. And then me and her talk about it every day, all day. So
Okay. How about
Yeah.
you, Colton?
So we do two things. One, we call it a WIP meeting, a work in progress, right?
Okay.
And we
And
do
then you have
that.
a nay meeting at the end of the day.
Dang, I knew you were gonna have
what
something for
about a
that.
Superman? What about a Superman?
Superman, yeah, exactly. But no, well, yeah. So every Monday morning, we kind of do a whip, and like,
Sorry.
we go through like all of our current projects, like where are we at, what do we got to do this week, and it's like, no, I thought we were doing this project, and whatever. And so yeah, a whip meeting between me, Rick, and her every Monday morning, and then she also it's still evolving and it's really exciting. But she has a big whiteboard next to her like
Yep.
office, her desk, and so the whiteboard is broken into three sections. We got like a 2 week calendar. We got like need to do in the shop, and we got like coming up orders, like on deck, in the hole, baseball terms.
Yeah.
And Yeah, well, it's kind of fun. She made it really like colorful, right? So we have like these magnets. Like each customer is a magnet, and they're all different colored. And like it moves whenever it's from in the hole to on deck and on calendar.
Perfect.
And they she'll write a date on it too, or notes or something. But yeah, it's all really colorful. It reminds me of so Crystal. Uh, she keeps like a planner, right? And she makes it all nice and has gel pens and highlighters and at first it's like, oh, that's floofy, like that's a waste of time. But really, like if you have a good system with it, like different colors mean different things and whatever, it's kind of a smart system.
So, on that note, I actually wanted to come at this discussion from somebody who's in a one man shop because
Hmm.
obviously I'm still wearing all the hats. I, similar to Cassidy, have a big whiteboard that's organized by all the different projects. There's the do I have the plans for it? Do I have the materials for it? And then there's the different steps of the majority of a project, and then the due date, and I can check off where I'm at progress wise and just look up at the board. If somebody calls me and goes, "Hey, where are we at in this project?" I can look up and be like, "I have everything done. I've sanded everything. I'm on to the finish, or I'm on to wherever it's at." Or if anybody else is answering the phone, if I'm not there, they can do it. Being that it's a one man shop, that doesn't ever happen. But if they were, that'd be awesome. The other thing I found that was really really helpful, there was uh, I guess a notebook, if you will, that I found a few years ago called the Finisher's Journal. And it literally has you put whatever your goals are for whatever you're trying to do. So let's say it's projects or whatever, or could be something like paying off debt or whatever it is. Breaks it into 90-day sections. And then at the beginning of each month, you have what are your goals for the month, and then it breaks it down into weeks and what are the steps you need to do each day to make sure those goals are attained, and it keeps you accountable at the beginning and end of each day. And I was amazed. I haven't been able to use it in a little bit because my day job has gotten too chaotic to come back to it. But I was amazed when I was working with that book weekly and daily, the amount of stuff I got done in like 3 months was ridiculous because it kept me accountable. And that's the biggest thing. And Colton, when you were working on your own, you're like,
Hmm.
oh my God, like all you really need was somebody to keep you accountable, and you would have, cracked the whip on yourself.
I know. Yep.
So
Yep.
it's whatever the motivation is for anybody, it's just keeping yourself accountable. That's the big part.
Yeah.
So,
I
Yeah.
got a little nugget on that too.
all
So
right.
like whenever you do get swamped, which we all get swamped, um, and this is kind of a do as I say, not as I've done kind of thing. Like when your phone's ringing off the hook, like it maybe you can't get to the phone right there, but you really should call him back. Like I got to a point where I was like so burned out, so stressed, like just trying to work in the shop, like I would kind of disappear from my phone. I would turn it off. I wouldn't look at it, and I would leave a lot of customers on red, and that is worse. But like then, like once this my to respond to list got like too big, and maybe I was like weeks out from responding to people I should have responded to that day. I would finally just buck up and call everybody and be like, "I'm sorry, I'm swamped, and this is my situation," and just very honest. And once I did that, I would feel so much better, and people were majority of the time very understanding too. And if I would have just picked up the phone and be like, "I don't know, I haven't even started it yet. I'm trying to get to it," it would have been done, over with, and honest. But people get the most PO'd I found whenever there's just no communication.
For
Like
sure.
they just want to hear something
Right.
about it. Like even if it's late, they want feedback. And it's a lot easier said than done. And yeah, but now with XFR, we're behind right now. We're playing catch up. We have a ton of backlog, right? And but I answer the phone no matter what, even if I know it's going to be a butt chewing phone call. I always answer it, which now it's a lot easier because it's not like exactly my company, right? So I have a little bit of fallback on that, but they're still on me about it. But it's so relieving to go ahead and, even if it is a butt chewing coming your way, take the butt chewing, and then yeah, put it back. It's not.
Colton,
It makes it worse the longer you wait.
that's very true. Very, very true. I wanted to actually follow up on that note because I know Jess and I had talked about it when you were before you had joined XFR and you were still way deep in the weeds on Cold Crit. You were in a
Mm-hmm.
pretty rough spot as far as your mental state on things. And have you noticed yourself, just your overall feeling on things and your overall just mental health? Has it gotten better since you went to XFR and have been able
Oh,
to step away from just doing the Cold Crit stuff?
dude, night and day, man. It like gave me a purpose, man. Like it completely reignited my fire, 100%. And
Nice.
yeah, 100%. And yeah, I
Okay.
I, I don't know. I'm working like I used to, right? Like balls to the wall. Like Rick was worried. He was like, "Colton, you gotta slow down. You gotta take some time off. Like you can't be." He didn't want me to burn out either.
Yeah.
And because he's been a business owner himself for a long time, and he understands it.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it was to the point where he was concerned about me, which I have a good balance now.
Good.
Like yeah, like the first few months, which I'm only what like 4 or 5 months in, I
Yeah.
guess. But like yeah, like the first 2 months, like I was staying late at the shop, like just trying to get it done, and like I had this whole project where I could put all of this pent up energy and like I don't know positivity, I guess, in, and yeah, dude, it feels so good. That yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
yeah, I dare one of our guys to try to outwork me, man. It feels so good. Yeah,
That's
it's a
awesome.
good mission, and Rick's been really good as well, right? Like the owner of XFR, like I'm his right hand man, right? And like I'm running the show hands on, he's running the show from the mile high view, which
Mm-hmm.
he is hands on a lot too. Like there's still processes I'm learning and like really fine details and things, um but yeah, he's done a good job of like letting me run and like respecting like my wood knowledge.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I wouldn't have taken like a normal or like a daily full-time job other than this. And it's cool. It's really cool.
Glad to hear that, man. I actually wanted to ask both of you. We have rounded the corner now into September, which means we are starting, unfortunately, the downhill slide until the holidays. And
Woo!
most of us in the woodworking world start getting hit up probably around mid November, where everyone is all of a sudden like, hey, I just started thinking about holiday gifts. And I just started thinking about what I want to possibly give as like a custom piece of furniture to my significant other.
Ooh.
Let me ask this. Are there any projects that you guys have thought about? Um, if you had extra time right now, you would like to start building something to be able to sell for the holidays? Or are you excited to just start wrapping up projects and walk away because neither one of the businesses that you guys do are kind of based around gift giving things?
Ooh, pick me.
Go
Dude,
ahead.
yes, I have an awesome idea. It doesn't seem like I'm gonna have that much time to work on it as of right now, but working on making that time happen. Okay, so like the big balsa wood, or not big, but like the balsa wood dinosaur skeletons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just a bunch of flat pieces and you put them together and they kind
Yeah.
of notch
Yeah.
in. I want to do those with reindeer, like, but do it giant.
You better
My
get to
neighbor
work.
had one I helped him with, but like each leg was like an 8 foot sheet of plywood. The thing stood like, oh, I guess it probably stood like 16 feet tall, 14 feet tall. But I don't want to
Big
quite do it
reindeer.
like that. In order to make it like sellable, or like, yeah, I want to keep it where each leg, each part can fit on the CNC.
Yeah.
And so that would be like 4 foot, like so like a 4 foot leg, 4 foot center, like it'd probably be about 6 foot tall.
Okay.
And if I could dial it in on the CNC, that'd be super easy to make, and could potentially print money if I can. But I am trying to not jump into another commitment I can't keep up with. But yeah,
That's a
so
great idea.
reindeer.
Okay.
It's
How
a
about
good
you,
idea.
Jess?
I don't know. We've tried the gift stuff. Our overhead's a little high for that stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Like everybody makes it's just too much. it's not in my garage or anything, and so
Mhm.
you would have to sell. I mean, we would have to be pumping out stuff so fast. I mean, we will have um, some cutting boards but we have them made already. Cutting boards and stuff made. People want them monogrammed, I'm sure. We'll probably get, some of the projects that people they'll pay for it and then we'll build it next year kind of thing going up like I'm buying my wife this custom island or whatever it is,
Hmm.
and we'll do it. But as far as it does slow down right before the holidays, but people just spend money around the holidays period and all that, so it should be. I mean, who knows, maybe somebody will buy their wife a kitchen, like I don't
Yeah.
know, like that'll be their surprise. I've seen stuff like that happen before.
One of our family
So
friends did that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that might happen. Speaking of
Um,
burnout, before we go any farther, I finished the salon today.
oh, hold on.
Well, I mean, I
Hold
got to
on.
make a little bookcase, but
Big news.
we worked. We have a little bookcase to make, but that's not a big deal. Yeah,
How does
finished
it
it.
look?
Amazing.
Are you proud of
Like,
the work?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. But they
And
worked
follow up.
weekends. We worked until 8 o'clock at night. Like it was like awful trying to get on her because she had a deadline. And
So let me ask this. Did all the measurements come out the exact
oh,
way you drew them up in
e-
SketchUp?
yeah, no, of course, of course. I mean, give or take for the thickness of the laminate. So we started taking
Uh,
off a 16th for that. With drawer fronts, that's important.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If that's a 16th of an inch, if that's the only difference, that's pretty fantastic.
well, we figured it out right away. I even thought about it before we did it, and I was like, let's take an eighth off. And then we took an eighth off, and I thought it was a little much. So then we tried one of them. We tried a 16th, then we went back to taking a 16th per piece of laminate. But that was easy enough to figure out. I missed some things I didn't pull out of SketchUp and write down,
Yeah.
but there was like one thing, but it wasn't because SketchUp doesn't make a mistake.
I will
So
tell you on your phone or on an iPad or whatever, you can actually download, and it's once you have SketchUp, you can do it as a free add-on, but it's called SketchUp Viewer, and you can literally pull up the file on your phone and look at
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I would I would have had a hard time without it because my biggest thing that I love about it, aside from like being able to know like, your drawer fronts and everything down to the 16th and 32nd and all that,
Mhm.
is the division side of it. So like I can say this drawer is this far from the top and this drawer is far from the bottom, and then you hit divide by 3 and boom, it pops three more
Mhm.
drawers in there and it spaces them evenly, and then I just measure what it figured out. I'm like, okay, that's where they're going to go, and then we make little spacers. Like I have printouts, like, and the laminate side of it I would have never been able to figure out without this perfect drawing, like the toe kick, what part got laminated, what part didn't. So we would have wound up laminating things we wouldn't have needed to laminate and not laminating things until the last minute. We would go put it together and go, oh crap, this little end needs a little piece of laminate on it. And so it was, uh, I mean, it's the only way I'm going to do
Did you
anything.
did you notice you saved on material because you were able to like
Yeah.
reference how much you needed
Yeah.
before?
Yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
make cut lists per sheet?
Mm, No, because I have so many scraps and stuff. Like you just kind of knew, like some of them were big. It was a full sheet,
Okay.
and the other stuff. The biggest part we had the hardest time with was the round because we cut one and it just didn't bend enough, and it wound up breaking right at the last second on the last night.
Oh.
And so I was like, all right, time to cut it. And so I was trying to save it, and I was like, I'm done saving it. And I was like, I got to take it apart and reuse, because I made a top circle and a bottom circle
Mhm.
with the router, and he said, "How are you going to get it apart?" And I said, "With anger." And I took a freaking mallet and beat it apart,
yeah.
and they pulled staples out for about an hour. So we just recut it with twice as many cuts, and it did okay. It did okay, but what's his name said there's an app, I couldn't find it, that tells you when you're doing radiuses.
Mm-hmm.
You can give it the material and
Talking
what
about
the
Jeff
radius
with
is.
Maker's
Yeah,
Way.
yeah, and it'll tell you what the kerf needs to be, how often, and how deep. I couldn't find it, but
Hmm.
we got it to work. That's something you got to save a lot more time for, and not try to rush it right at the end, trying to make a perfect radius. But it was fine. It was all fine, and
Cool.
that's one thing that you gotta get used to. SketchUp doesn't allow for error.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you put a back panel on and it's not perfectly flush, if it's in an eighth, that can would be normal on another cabinet, but you've not allowed for that,
Yeah.
right? Like all your little reveals, you haven't allowed for that. And so you have to like kind of start to think that way. And then the other thing with SketchUp, it doesn't allow for you to miscut. Like if you're off a 16th with your cut, like because the saw was, you changed your blade and this blade cuts a little more than the other blade, you got to really like double check everything as
Yeah.
you do it. But it was God, it was fantastic. It was just absolutely fantastic. My drawer boxes, knowing all my dimensions of all that stuff
Awesome.
ahead of time, and yeah, it was great. Anyway,
Awesome.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
Awesome.
about the
Yeah.
Christmas thing.
You know what?
No.
Well, that was great. I should try out SketchUp, like see if I could draw these cornhole boards in SketchUp just to see if like seeing it in like a 3D drawing, maybe playing with it there to see if there's some way I could better engineer it.
Mm-hmm.
Which
The
yeah,
biggest thing
I'd
you
like to
find
see
is
that.
like efficiencies, being able to like, okay, I currently buy, let's say 1x3s for the legs or 1x4s. And if I buy like a 1x8, I can get this many more out of it and it's only going to cost me this much.
Mhm.
That's where you start to find the true like cost savings with
Uh,
SketchUp.
if you want that link, I'll send you that guy that's got the YouTube channel and stuff. It's basically free. He is such a good teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
they starts from the basics to the really complicated, like people drawing bridges stuff, and he even talks about the add-ons, which not a lot of people talk about. For
Yep.
cabinets
The
and
extensions and
specifics,
stuff.
yeah, the extensions that do all kind of stuff specifically for your trade. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I've
Yeah.
seen there's
I got a
reels.
sketch.
How nerdy is that? There's reels on YouTube
Oh
of
yeah.
SketchUp stuff. And like I watch
Oh, I
these
watch
people
them
do
all the
stuff
time.
and they click like six things and all of a sudden it's drawn like a geometric like suspension bridge thing, by a little bit of math and a couple clicks and an extension. Man, these guys have been using this for a while. The hardest part
Mm-hmm.
is getting used to moving around because you don't move around like that in real life. And so that mouse that
The
I
yeah.
created, with the
So
things was a
yeah, that's
big
awesome.
help. That was
And
a
then
big help.
also learning some of the keyboard shortcuts. Like I
Yeah,
learned
either way.
recently that if you, and I don't know why, but like whenever I watch those videos and I'm like, how come they never like have to go back and click on the arrow to
Right.
go like select like the select tool?
Right.
How do they do that without having to do it? And I realized they're just hitting the space bar and it comes
Yep.
back up. And I'm like, oh my
Yep.
God, that little trick saved me so much time
Yep.
being able to just fly through it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool. I got a question. Does SketchUp have some sort of like physics function in it? Like you're talking about bridges. Like say
Oh, an
you
engineering
draw
thing? I don't
like a
know.
chair. Could it be like, no, this isn't going to hold any weight?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think you can apply pressure or anything like that, and it'll give you engineering specs on it. I don't think. But you
Sounds good. I
can
was
take
wondering
that.
when you're talking bridges, I was thinking it
But
might.
you can take that file, that CAD file or TXF file, into another program that does.
Yeah.
I just don't
There
know
you
what
go.
program that would be. And it would give you the 3D shapes for the most part and help you to figure it out. I know you can animate things in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah,
Yep.
you can
That's cool.
animate. You can like make a car drive by the little house you built.
Very
uh,
nice.
the reason I brought up the Christmas discussion was because I happened to get a random mail order catalog that had a lot of woodworking stuff in it. It was Uncommon Goods was the name of the catalog. Um, and it's all sourced from people off Etsy is basically what it is. They buy random things off Etsy and they say, if we sell this or put it in the catalog, can you mass produce it? And so people are like, yeah, okay, whatever. So if you look, it'll say like this one ships from Tennessee and this one ships from Arkansas. This one ships from New Jersey. And like it's all a variety of different things. But one of the things
What?
on there, yeah, wild.
That's
I know.
genius.
Yeah, absolutely. Like whoever came up with that is absolute genius. But the reason I brought it up is because there was one of the things that was listed on the front page of this catalog, and it was all scraps of wood cut to 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch into obviously square, and then random lengths. And they glued them all together on one piece of wood that would hang like a French cleat on the wall. And that piece of wood, when you put it all together, looked like a random sound wave. They were charging
Yeah.
anywhere from $175 to $850 for these
Yeah.
random pieces of wood. And it was
Yeah.
scraps of like oak and maple and padauk and
Yeah.
mahogany and ebony, like just a wide variety. But it was anywhere from 2.5 to 8 feet wide and
Do you give them the
random
wave
widths.
file?
No, I mean you can, and they can set like whatever you want it to be.
Like
So
your
if you
kid,
want it to
your
be
kid's
like,
crying or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, or whatever,
Oh,
like you can send them
that
that
is such a
file.
good idea.
But it was random scraps, and I'm like, I
Yep.
have so many scraps. That's wonderful.
There's
Hey,
a
So-
website that does
don't
it
hate
with.
the player, hate the game, man.
There's a
Don't hate the
website
player.
that does it with a sound wave, and they make it into art, and they do a canvas,
Yes.
and you can get it done. So that's kind of the same. I mean, that sounds cool looking though. That sounds cool looking.
Yeah, it was just-
I like stuff like that. But yeah, that's a lot of money. Probably because it costs a lot to ship it too.
Probably, but yeah. So
I love
That's
it.
neat. You know what? I'm gonna. That's a great idea. I should do that for our house. You know, I made a clock for the house the other day, right?
you did tell us that, yeah.
And I hung some like. So I realized the other day we don't have any art up in our house. I'm gonna somehow. Do you know how I would get an audio file of me saying like "I love you"? And
Yes.
Wave file.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to, the program that you use to edit, you can even do it with GarageBand on your phone. If you just record I love you, like yourself saying it, it'll create a wave, an image of a wave file, and you can just take a screenshot and send it to them.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I was gonna make it myself, of course.
Oh yeah,
But you know, it's funny. I should do like something funny, like "I like your butt," but then tell her that's like "I love you so much." And then put
Never
it on
tell
the
her.
wall.
yeah.
Never tell her.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
Well,
Very
boys,
good.
what do you say we jump into a little bit of something a little bit more fun? How about we do? What do we think?
We need to do the wood of the week this time first.
Okay.
all right.
The wood of the week.
All right. This week's wood of the week is fun to say. Any way you
Okay.
say it. And there's about 6 ways to say it. So this week's wood of the week is Chico Zapote.
Oh yeah, he was that famous Cuban baseball player, right?
He was a no, he was a dancer. Don't
Oh,
be
okay.
silly.
Sorry.
All right, Chico Zapote, or more commonly called, I mean, it's called Chickle. It's called where was the other ones at here?
Chicle?
Here, I got it off of the database. Chico Zapote, Sapodilla, Sapodilla, Sapodilla. This one, I was just looking at, just gonna pick it, and then once I got into it, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty. We all know what this is. So this is one of those ones that's like you're not gonna see a lot of the wood in use for building furniture, but there is furniture out there that people use it. If you guys want to look it up, it's stinking gorgeous, like a deep, rich, chocolatey walnut, like super deep, rich. Sapodilla is the one, Sapodilla. and the Janko hardness is like 2,300. I saw some that said like 2,900. Like it's way the wood database says 2,970. It's
it is
3,000.
like almost like bright red on some spots.
Yeah, it says color ranges from a pink or red to a darker reddish brown, pale yellowish sapwood, gradually transitions to heartwood. So, a lot of turners use it. It dulls your stuff. Absolute killer rot resistance. Doesn't rot. Insects don't eat it. It's good outside. That kind of deal. The one of the biggest uses for it is archery bows, and turned objects.
Oh.
But and they get really old, like hundreds of years old. But this is the thing. This tree, they don't cut them down too much because of the sapodilla fruit. And the sapodilla fruit is what they make gum out of, chewing gum. So, yeah. So,
we call it the Wrigley
sapodilla,
tree.
Yeah.
I
so
think
like
I've had a
Chico,
sapodilla flavored something, maybe in Belize. I don't know.
So sapodilla, the fruit's called Chico sapote, sapota, zapote chicos, zapotillo chicle, sapodilla plum, and naseberry or nosberry,
Schnozberry? Yeah.
Schnozberries, just like schnozberries.
I actually got a pair of penny loafers at Chico's Zapateria once.
So chicle refers to the latex excreted by the sapodilla fruit and is used in chewing gum base. Growing sapodillas is thought to have originated in the Yucatan Peninsula and nearby southern regions of Mexico, Belize, and into northern Guatemala. It is then introduced and cultivated throughout the tropical Americas, West Indies, and southern part of Florida. And so they grow for a really long time, and they produce that fruit for a really long time. So for the most part, they use them for the chewing gum part of it. But what's interesting is that it also has vitamin C, vitamin A, folate, niacin, pantothenic acid, and minerals like potassium, copper, and iron in it. So, and it's rich in antioxidants. It's been used in antidiarrheal, hemostatic, and hemorrhoid aid. So, like the fruit of this thing is like killer. Like it's very, very useful. And so I thought, wow, what a wonderful, what a beautiful
From
thing,
end to end, yeah.
Beautiful food, beautiful
Yeah.
wood, and at the end of its life, and beautiful fruit that comes from it. That's very, very useful to humans. So that's it, and it's super hard too, which is crazy.
I was gonna say
super, super hard.
So looking at pictures of it, there are some pretty pieces, but it seems like in general it's just kind of dark and like very consistent.
Yes,
like your mother.
It says that it has a very straight grain and that you can't see the waves unless you have like a microscope, the growth rings. So they're not very, it said the ray's not visible without a lens. So anyway, yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. You don't even know it. You don't even know that that's one of the bases for chewing gum, but it's been around for a long time.
How about that?
Very nice.
How about that? Yeah.
Well, I think I would like to learn more about it in a little bit of trivia. Is that a possibility?
That's right. Yes, it is.
All right. Better get on out that knowledge because it's trivia time.
All right. I am pretty sure about all of these answers this week. I double checked them because they seem so ridiculous. Some of these are going to be softballs. We'll start with you guys. And towards the end, it's going to get really hard, but you're going to be like, wow, I never knew that. It's words that you know, things that you know about. And it's all the same kind of thing as this sapodillo tree. It's like resins and things that we get from trees, and you never knew what tree we got it from. All right? Or what plant.
Should we keep score?
That's up to you if you want to keep score.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Are we doing Jeopardy style, multiple choice?
We'll do multiple
truth or
choice.
dare? What are we doing?
You won't need multiple choice for some of them, but towards the end, you're definitely going to need multiple choice.
Okay.
So
let's start with Colton.
Let's start with Coltonio. Question number 1, which tree is primarily known for its producing latex, the raw material for natural rubber? Would you like multiple choice?
Yeah.
Is it the maple tree, the rubber tree, the oak tree, or the pine tree?
I'm going to go with the rubber tree.
That is correct. Hevia brasiliensis.
Did you say heavy breastises?
Hevia Brasiliensis.
Huh.
Brasiliensis.
The tree has a lot of personality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They use it to make tires and everything else. All right. Question number 2.
Hold on.
All right. The sap of which tree is famously used to make maple syrup? Is it
I'm going to go with the maple tree.
Is it the silver maple, the sugar maple, birch tree, or hickory? It is correct. The sugar maple or Acer saccharum. It takes about, fun fact, it takes about 40 gallons of maple sap to produce 1 gallon of syrup. All right. Moving on. But you didn't know that.
Did not.
Softball. Which tropical tree produces a milky sap from its bark that is historically used to make chewing gum?
You talking about Sapodilla?
Sapodilla or Chico Sapote. That's right. The sap called chicle was used in primary ingredient gum before synthetic versions became more popular. All right.
I'm glad I had that one still pulled up in my Google.
All right. It's gonna start getting harder.
That's what she said.
Are you ready? What tree, Ross, produces frankincense, a resin historically used for incense and perfumes? Is it the baobab tree, the boswellia tree, the cedar, or the redwood?
I'm going to go with the cedar.
That is incorrect. It is the boswellia tree.
Huh.
Frankincense has been used in religious and cultural rituals for thousands of years. All right, question number 5. Which tree is tapped for its sap to create turpentine, solvent used in paints and varnishes? Is it oak, pine, elm, or willow?
Turpentine? Oh, Ross, I know you know this one. I don't know it. Let's go. Elm tree. Turpentine.
That is incorrect. It is the pine tree. It is the good old pine tree. Turpentine. Pine? Yeah.
Should I have known that?
Yes.
I should have known that, huh?
Turpentine was once a key ingredient in naval stores, products used to maintain ships. All right. Question number 6, Ross. The resin from which tree is used to make amber, a fossilized material often used in jewelry, and wait to answer. Is it the birch, cherry, conifer, or walnut?
It is the conifer.
That is
correct.
Which
is a species of tree.
Right. Throw a little thing at you there. Conifer. And like everybody's seen Jurassic Park, amber can preserve ancient insects and plant material, making a key source for information for scientists studying prehistoric life.
And as 311 let us know, amber is the color of your energy.
This is true. Colton, which tree's seeds are the source of chocolate? Is it
I know this one.
The coconut palm, the avocado, the cacao tree, or olive?
Cacao.
That is right. The cacao tree, or Theobroma cacao, means food of the gods, a fitting name for the tree that gives us chocolate.
You damn
We got to grind up some of those cacao nuts.
Don't you have to toast them or something?
Nicaragua.
You roast them, yes.
You roast them? Yeah.
You actually have to soak them because they have like a milky sap inside so the actual beans come in this like pouch. Yep, exactly.
Mine
and
too.
You have to yep. Okay, so we're gonna move on.
You ruined it. This is why we can't have nice things.
All right, Ross, this is a good one for you. Which tree's bark is harvested to create cork, often used for wine stoppers and flooring?
The cork tree.
Yes. What kind of cork tree, though?
The Portuguese cork tree.
No, it is
your
out
favorite. Of Portugal. Don't tell me it's cherry.
It's your Latin, the one that you know.
It's not Quercus alba. That's white oak.
It is Quercus suber, cork oak.
Oh,
Cork
how about
oak.
that?
Yes.
Ooh.
By the way, fun fact: cork trees can be harvested for their bark without damaging the tree, allowing it to regenerate and be harvested again.
Correct. They have had the same trees in Portugal.
Love it.
Harvesting for like 800 years.
Yeah.
Super
Well, do you know
cool.
that cork, like a raw, like natural cork, actually doesn't hold wine as well as a synthetic cork?
Correct.
This is true.
But it breathes much better and therefore ages the wine much better.
They were making flooring out of it for
that's
a while. It was real easy on you, and they acted like it was like the greatest thing, but
It was terrible for
it wears
resilience.
out.
Yeah.
It wears out really fast. So,
Like
all
your
right.
mother.
Here's a softball for you, Colt. Tino, the inner bark of which tree is commonly used to make cinnamon spice?
You're gonna give me the answer or the multiple choice? I'm nervous. It's too easy.
Is it the cinnamon tree, cedar, ash, or oak?
Let's go with the cinnamon tree.
That is correct. Cinnamomum verum. Cinnamomum verum.
That sounds like
Thousands of years.
That sounds like the Swedish chef introducing it. First, you added the
So-
cinnamon.
So there's this lady that's on TikTok, and she talks about cinnamon, like the cinnamon and cayenne pepper, like they are the greatest thing ever. Like you should take cinnamon and cayenne pepper pills because it does all these good things for your body. So, all right,
Do you know
moving
it's
on.
impossible to swallow a tablespoon of cinnamon?
Yes, and a lot of kids got aspirated
Mm-hmm.
Vomit and stuff because they would vomit and then choke and then
Mm-hmm.
aspirate their vomit and like died. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
The cinnamon
Yeah.
challenge, bad call. Might as
Yeah,
well do
don't
it with
do it.
sand.
I think I could
All
do
right.
it.
No,
You cannot.
no.
I also
no,
I do want to do the gallon challenge with
Nope.
milk. Like where you drink a whole gallon
No.
of milk.
Oh, you gotta
I
eat the
can do that.
bananas. You gotta eat a
No,
banana
hold on.
and drink a half gallon of milk.
I have literally watched somebody try and do that in person, and he was getting like the puke shakes like 3/4 into the way. Like he tried
Oh.
just downing a gallon, and he got like 3/4 of a gallon down in a minute, and then his body was like, "Nope, this is a horrible
No.
idea."
Yes.
Yeah, just no, don't do it.
You can't
Like,
eat
you're not a
like,
baby cow. Yeah.
You can't eat 2 bananas and drink a half gallon of milk. You can't do it because the potassium and the calcium mix together, and your body goes, no. Now it
Ooh.
comes.
Huh.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen them do it a bunch of times, and I've never seen anybody finish it.
You know what else
All right.
happens if you actually take a shot of either lemon juice or lime juice after drinking milk? It curdles in your stomach. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
I've seen. What's the one with Guinness and Bailey's?
Oh, the cement
Irish car
mixer.
bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah, Irish car bomb.
One of the
whatever,
more
and it
gross-
coagulates.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, your choices should not be. I have to drink this before it coagulates. That's not a fun night.
No.
All right. Let's kick it up a notch here.
Bam!
Questions 10 through 15 are a little tricky. Which tree produces a valuable sap called myrrh, Ross?
Yes.
Traditionally used in perfumes, incense, and embalming. Is it the olive, sycamore, commiphora, or elm?
Commiphora.
Commiphora, that is correct.
Very nice.
I had to think of which
Valuable.
ones were not actually originally from the Middle East, and it was down to
this is-
commiphora and olive. So
There you go. Very
Hey,
good.
Rob, I lost track. Are we tied right now?
we are tied right now.
All right, it's on.
Okay,
let's
now
go.
this is a crazy one. Which tree species produces the compound Taxol, a chemotherapy drug used in the treatment of cancer?
Whoa.
Is it the willow tree, the Pacific yew, redwood, or the cherry blossom?
Let's go with Pacific Hue.
That is correct. Also known as Taxus brevifolia.
Huh.
It was discovered in the bark of the Pacific yew, and it remains a vital part of cancer treatment therapies today.
That's
Very
incredible.
nice.
Yeah,
I like this multiple
right?
guess. Yeah.
All right. Question number 12. The argan tree is native to Morocco and is well known for producing argan oil.
Correct.
A highly prized ingredient in cosmetics. Which part of the tree is used to produce the oil? Leaves, seeds, bark, roots.
I'm going to say the leaves.
Incorrect.
That's a tough one.
It is a hard one. It is the seeds. It is the seeds.
Ooh.
Extracted from the seeds of the fruit and is so valuable that the argan tree is often called the tree of life by local Berber communities. All right.
Isn't argon also a gas?
Yep.
I think it's argon, isn't it? Because this is argan.
Yeah.
A-N.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, argon is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Really tricky one. Ready? The resin from the dragon's blood tree, Dracania cinnabari, was historically used for what purpose? Dye for textiles, medicinal treatments, varnish for violins, or all of the above?
Or ritual sacrifices.
Well, two of those are like dyes. I'm going to go all the above.
That is correct. Highly valued in ancient cultures for its vivid red color, is used in everything from medicinal remedies to coatings for fine instruments. All right, two more.
You're saying a coating, not exactly a dye. Oh,
yeah. One more. Two more. Which tree produces quinine, a compound historically used to treat malaria, also in tonic? Is it birch, cinchona, sycamore, or mahogany?
Let's go with sycamore.
Incorrect. It was the Cinchona officinalis. Cinchona officinalis, quinine derived from the bark of the cinchona tree, was a game changer in the fight against malaria and is still used in tonic water.
Huh.
All right.
I was thinking sycamore too, actually.
A lot of people are allergic to quinine. All right, moving on. Last one.
Like something that would be in like gin or something. Yeah.
I think that's juniper berries, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The neem, N-E-E-M, tree is a versatile plant known for producing oil with multiple applications. In which industries is neem oil commonly used? Agriculture as a natural pesticide, medicine for its antifungal and antibacterial properties, cosmetics for skin care, or all of the above?
I was mostly leaning towards Bravo, like the medical thing, but I'm going to go all the above.
It is also all of the above. The neem tree is often called the village pharmacy in India due to its wide range of uses from pest control to skincare treatments. You guys did
I've seen
awesome.
something with
Congrats
neem
to
oil on
Colton.
the package of it. Thank you.
Big
Hey,
win.
Ross, in your defense, I think I got a lot easier questions.
Yes.
Like, where does
So-
the cinnamon, what tree does cinnamon come from?
So quinine.
I had to listen to the answer, so I wasn't going to be too confident.
Cinchona tree. Quinine. Very good.
Hey, I know
love
I've seen
tonic.
neem oil somewhere. Maybe it was a face product. I don't know.
I love tonic. Like tonic with lime. I love it.
Not a fan. Too bitter.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Too bitter for you? I
Yeah.
thought you liked bitter flavors.
No, I'm not a bitter guy.
What about Brussels sprouts?
Love Brussels sprouts, but they have to be-
Asparagus?
Yep.
Yep.
Brussels
Urine?
sprouts. No, don't like piss. Not my thing.
No comment.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm definitely after that thought going to have to wash the flavor out of my mouth.
The Whiskey of the Week.
The whiskey of the week coming into this week was a combination that Colton got to pick from on the Jameson Caskmate series. He either had the choice of the IPA or the stout version. So, Colton, were you able to procure it and did a dandy?
I was.
And which did
I
you
did
go
not-
with?
I went with the stout.
Okay.
So I wanted to do both, right?
Yep.
And except the only of the IPA version they had at this liquor store was in a handle.
Oh,
Right,
no. That's too much.
Yeah, I didn't want to fully commit to that, but so I went with the stout edition of the Castmates, and yeah, I really did want to compare them side by side though. But It's a lot better than I remember.
Okay.
Right. And so I think I remember when I had these. I think I was at an Irish pub and I saw all these different Jamesons on the wall. I was like, oh, let me get a pour of that. Let me get a pour of that. And got to kind of try them side by side. But so the stout is a lot better than I remember.
Okay.
Right. Like, it's an Irish whiskey already. So it's like super distilled and already pretty mellowish.
Yes.
Right.
Fairly thin, very
Yeah.
light.
Yeah. And but the stout edition, so I know they have a coffee or some sort of like it has some sort of coffee name edition. But this one, like, if I were to try it blindly, I would think it was the coffee one.
Really?
Like it kind of has like a nutty, almost coffee kind of flavor off the
Yeah.
bat.
There are a lot of darker kind of roasted tones that come out on this one.
Yeah. And it actually surprised me. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Okay.
I recognized my prejudice.
Okay.
And yeah, I really liked it. Outside of the initial tone, I don't really have much to say about it. It smells like an Irish whiskey, smell like Jameson, right? And yeah, but yeah, it's kind of a cool nutty thing.
Okay.
It's almost like I guess to paint a picture, like
Please do.
I don't know, I picture like I'm hiking, I'm hiking like the Appalachian Trail,
Mhm.
right? And out of the bushes pops up Hobo Larry. He's got 3 teeth, no shoes, and it gives you a homemade granola bar, and you're hungry as heck, and so you eat it, and it's really good. Or you take a bite, and you turn around, he's gone, like a skinwalker or something. And but the
That really escalated quickly.
Yes.
yeah, but the granola bar is really good, and it really hits the spot. And I'm not gonna say I would buy this one again just for myself, but
Okay.
it's cool to try. I don't really think it. I didn't do a cocktail with it again.
Okay.
Um.
It does make a great ice cream float or root beer float if you want.
Oh, I could see that being a good application for it. Right.
Yeah.
It Yeah, it's not too harsh at all to like take away from eating sweets.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would do a good ice cream float. You know what? If we end up with a bucket of ice cream this week, I'll give it a shot. And report back.
You should do it. All right. Well,
9 out of 10.
yeah. What rating do you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
All right, let's. I don't know. I need to do another taste. Let's do it.
Okay. Taking a pull straight out the bottle.
Oh man, it's I'll give it a 5.75.
Okay.
Well,
5 3/4. Like it's more good than it is bad, but I'm not gonna get excited if I
Okay.
see it
that's
on
a
a
good
bar
way
shelf.
to put it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it maybe it deserves like 6.5 maybe.
No,
but
you give it
I'll
what
do
you wanna give it.
5.75. Yeah,
I like it.
it's more good than bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, based on the request you had last week, we are going to try and bring back the new Riff Bourbon. We're going to give you another
Yeah.
try. So the new Riff Bourbon will be the whiskey of the week going into next week to truly give you an opportunity to taste it. And I know you said they have it at your local store, and it's got a sexy ombre bottle. So I'm excited to hear what you think.
Muy excelente. I can't wait, dude. Yeah. Oh, the same Orion One Liquor in almost Tomball, UKK, Houston, Texas. They yeah, she called me by my name again when I called. It makes you
Nice.
feel so dang special, right?
Or like an alcoholic.
Yeah, I was about to say, or like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But yeah, she would ask me now, like she's like, "How was the podcast?" It's fun.
That's
It,
awesome.
it also goes to show, like, if you know your customers' names, which I guess that doesn't really apply. Like, obviously, you know your customer's name in woodworking once they're a customer, but regardless, knowing your customer's name goes a long ways.
Absolutely. It's customer service. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what industry it is. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's share a little bit of knowledge.
Woo!
It's nuggets.
Jess, what's your best and Snuggets?
My best what?
And Snuggets. Do it
And
right now. We'll keep the bite for the music intro.
And Snuggets!
I kind of like that.
Done.
I think that's good. I think that's a good one. I think we're gonna keep that.
Yep.
I don't know, Ross. You're the sound guy. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do
it.
So you want to hear my nugget?
Yes.
My nugget is to get organized, bro. Get organized. So, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you just, you know, if you've got the money, the pack out's the way to go. I saw a bunch of guys with the Milwaukee pack outs, the electricians today, and big money. I've looked at them because I need another one, and my other one's like the little handle things are breaking. I have an old DeWalt one, but even though the handle's broken, like, so when we go on a job, it's like there's certain things that we found we always wind up needing, like a couple of clamps. They stay in the trailer. The buzzy, always need that stupid thing. If I don't bring it, then I need it. If I do bring it, then I don't need it. And then anytime we do cabinets, we have this little box that's like an old Tupperware my wife used to keep makeup in, and it's got a lid that snaps, and it's just got like cabinet door bumpers and 5/8 screws and like hinge
Shims.
Pins, like shelf pins, like of different sizes, because you lose one, like that's got a box and just says cabinet go box on it. And then like when I have like protein powder, or for a while there I was using
meth,
cocaine, and that
Hell of a drug.
PB2, that PB2 peanut butter stuff, that dried peanut butter.
Yes, I use that.
I saved all the containers. So then we have a place called Tri-City Bolt and Screw that all of the screws are really good quality, and they're half the price you can get them anywhere else. And so like I'll go buy like 1,000 of whatever kind of screw it is, like the ones we use a lot, like 1.25" cabinet screws or whatever. We just throw them in there, put a piece of tape on it. And then the little organizers they sell at Home Depot with like the little
the
cubbies.
lid.
Yeah. And then we write on there or put tape and just do that. And they have you a couple of nice tool bags where you've got screwdrivers and pliers and stuff. And those just go with you. Anytime you go do a job, you've always got some kind of saw. You've got a charger for a Makita, a charger for our Ryobi. Like you've got a little bit of everything.
Yep.
And you just know this little section of the shop, or this shelf, this stuff goes. We don't even question it. We just throw it in the truck and off we go. And sure enough, you wind up using it.
Yep.
And then I am really big about, like, if we do an install and they have their own hardware, like I take the screws that we don't use that came with their stuff and I put it in a box.
Yep.
And I have like all these like little weird cabinet screws and stuff. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh my God, I need 1 3-inch screw. And sure enough, it's in one of the boxes. So,
it's interesting that you said that you're really big in that. I'm really big in Japan. Like physically, they are very small people.
Yes. It's hard to find clothes your size.
That's true.
Yes, it is.
Gojira. Yep. I have a very simple nugget for you, and this harkens back to the sharpening, because I finished out a bunch of projects this past weekend. I was on the road Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I've only been back in the shop for a couple of days. I'm going to be back out again. So I knew I had a limited amount of time and I had to get stuff done, and I had projects coming up, but I was like, I don't want to start a project and then just leave it for a few days. So I've taken the time over the past few days to sharpen and organize, and to your point, Jess, kind of pack out things where I can. But on the sharpening side, I've been trying to get to that next level of sharpening, and everybody wants to have the perfectly sharp chisels and plane blades and all the things that you need to sharpen. I have started putting a micro bevel on the very tip of all my chisels.
Have you?
Yes.
What degree is it?
So I typically, if I have like a 25-degree chisel blade,
right,
I will notch it up to like a 28-degree micro bevel, just for the very tip of it, just to like give that little bit of extra lift.
A lot of people do that. Yeah.
And the way I've been doing it, yes. And so the way I've been doing it, and it sounds really dumb, I bought a red Sharpie, and the
no, that's how you do it.
Like I literally like take that Sharpie and I mark the very tip of the blade. And when I'm sharpening, you'll notice most of the time it gets it. Yeah, exactly. It does. just to see if it likes it though. But you'll see that the majority of the blade actually does get sharpened, but that little micro bevel, until I adjust the height or gauge on there, I'll give it 1 or 2 turns, and that little micro adjustment puts it to the perfect angle, and I sharpen it. And once I know all the red Sharpie is gone, I have sharpened it correctly, and it is a night and day difference of how much extra, just little sharpening and cleaning force you get in a mortise or in any kind of just chisel work you're doing.
I was watching these guys when I was like trying to
Wow.
learn a long time ago how to sharpen and chisel. And they're like, I do this. And then they would do, I would say it's 35. They went from 25 to 35. It was a lot more drastic. But
Okay.
that extra little micro bevel. And I'm like, I don't know if I know how to do. Oh, what's his name does it? Wood Whisperer.
Yeah.
He'll do that sometimes. Not on all of them, but
I've been doing it on my chisel
Interesting.
blades, and it definitely, I notice a difference in like how it cuts, having that extra little bit,
I like
because
it.
you don't get nearly the, I know this sounds dumb, but like, especially if you were to wet down the piece that you're chiseling, you start to get like a suction force that
Yeah.
and so the micro bevel just creates a little air gap, and then it slides that much easier.
Huh. I wonder if that's why the Japanese chisels are like hollow in the back.
It
So you don't
absolutely
get that
is.
suction. Huh.
Hmm.
I'll try it. I'll try it
Yeah.
by a little doohickey. I think it's got like a couple
So
degrees more. I'll try
yeah,
it.
yeah. So all you need to do is just like crank it up like 1 or 2 notches. It's real easy.
Hmm. I'll try it on one of
But
my
use
cheap
That's cool.
chisels.
use a different color Sharpie, not black, but like if you have orange or red or whatever, use that to
Okay.
mark that very
I
edge.
have clear.
And
Does that work?
no, also silver won't work. But
Okay.
no,
Yeah. Silver
yeah,
chisel. No. Okay.
yeah,
Those got some sort of like Damascus blade.
yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Colton? What do you got?
Actually, no. All right. Oh, my nugget. Okay, so when it comes to spraying lacquer, um, especially with like a HVLP gun, right? Um, you're always cleaning the gun like after every use, right?
Absolutely.
And we use a lot of thinner, right? We run thinner through the hose, through the line for a few minutes, and like clean the end of your gun with thinner as well. But we'll clean like the tip of the gun in acetone, right?
Hmm.
And we recently did something that has worked really well. So like overnight or like at the end of the day, like we'll remove like the spray nozzle and like the head and then the screw attachment.
Yeah.
I should know all the technical terms for those, but and we have like this little jar. It looks like it used to be some sort of like Herbalife powder jar or something.
Okay.
Like it's maybe 5 inches tall and diameter of maybe 3.5 inches.
Okay.
Right, but it's got a screw top, which is important, and we keep our acetone in there. And at the end of the day, I'll put like those three pieces, like the nozzle, the head, and the screw thing, and like I'll even like stir them up like that with them, which that's probably not a good thing. They're probably bumping into each other a little bit, but yeah, and it keeps it really clean, and it keeps your acetone from like evaporating away, and yeah, it's still there. It saves money on chemicals, and yeah, and you always got your labeled jar where your gun head is, but
Very
small,
nice.
but
The-
it's worked out well for us.
I will tell you that we do the same thing because we use a lot of water based paint and brush cleaner. Awful smelling
Yep.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a like mason jar because as it turns out, elite plastic, but a mason jar, and you stick your little metal tips in there, and paint just
Oh, a
flows right
mason
off.
jar.
Yeah, mason jars are great.
That's
'cause
even
they don't-
better idea.
Yeah, you just gotta be
You
careful
can
with the
also
glass
see
in your
inside it
shop.
without opening it up. Oh,
Yeah, and they're cheap.
oh, yeah. We're
Yeah.
about to get some mason jars in the XFR shop.
Just be careful
Heck
with the
yeah.
glass. That's the only thing in the shop. That's always my concern with it. But
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
Very
Hey.
nice.
All right, and before we sign off, I do have one last thing.
All right.
I do too.
All right, so for everyone who's keeping up, like who's up to date on the podcast, for next week, I want to ask y'all, you guys, about the best way to mark your tools. Right. So
You peed
don't
on
answer
me.
it now. But
I rub my balls.
the best way to mark your tools, right? And what do you spray paint them and write your name? Do you wrap it in tape? Do you print a logo? Do you scratch it in? Like, because I'm building this pack out kit, right? I want to keep track of my stuff. What's the best way? And also, we'd love to hear from the listeners if they have any cool creative ways to mark your tools. I want to hear it.
Absolutely. Send some
We'll discuss.
suggestions either on Instagram or on our email, which is beataroundthebench@gmail.com. You can send us information there, or just send your suggestions. Tag us on whatever post you have, whatever reel. Just tag us on Instagram, and we will
Oh,
follow that.
that's a good idea too. I like that.
Jess, what do you got?
So this is not a
The
negative.
story of a girl. Oh, sorry.
This is not a negative, but I have two questions to see if, and answer me honestly, if these thoughts ever cross your mind. Okay, these two thoughts have been kind of going through my mind um, for a little bit now. So,
Jess, I'm your friend, but I'm not that friend. Where is
do
this
you
going?
ever,
I'll be
do
that friend,
you
Jess.
ever, and maybe it's just more so like, especially this last job, get sick of being in a field or a job or whatever you want to call it in this trade where 1/32 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch of a mistake can ruin something and cost you money. There's all these other jobs out there, right? And you could do
No.
a lot of different things. And these little, like one like little slip, and now you got to make a new something, or you're at a job and it's 100 miles away, and now you're screwed, and now you've got to spend all this time fixing one little mistake, one little just it's so particular and finite with a lot, not all of it, but a lot of it. When you don't have to do this. You don't have to be a woodworker. You don't have to do that. You like it. You don't have to be doing that. There's other things you could probably do. That's question number one. And question number two is
Do you
along
want
with that.
do you want us to answer that yet or no?
Yeah.
No. Well, the question two goes along with it. Do you ever like watch
Okay.
stuff like I like before I go to bed, I'll like go through TikTok. That's about the only time I ever look at it. And I'm like watching these guys, and he's got like, I don't know if you guys think it's cool, like knife making stuff. And they like take the
Mhm.
metal and they weld it and they put it in that what do they call that thing that pounds it up and down?
Hydraulic
Uh,
press?
yeah, well,
Or
it
that's not a
bounces,
press.
like it hammers, so like a pneumatic hammer, like a hydraulic hammer
Mm.
thing, and
Yeah.
they turn it into like a knife blade. And like, man, that's so cool. Like, I don't know if I would ever get tired of that. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so neat. And like, what if I did that? What if I like did that and just forgot this and I did that? Would it be, would I get tired of that? Would it be fulfilling? I don't know. Just thoughts that come across my head. I'm not going to do anything about it, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
I'll let Colton answer first.
Sure. You saying, do I ever get tired of it? Like, no. I'm thankful that I can nerd out and be like a thousandth of an inch. I guess
Ultra
that's what they
precise.
say. But yes, I'm thankful I'm in an industry where it matters and you can take your time. And whenever I'm on a project and like say Rick's like shadowing me or like watching me do it, and he's like, "Oh, it don't matter. That part don't matter." It's like what just like trying to not get me to be precise. I'm like, dang it. I was really enjoying like being perfect and like trying to envision. Yeah, no, I'm thankful that
You think the
we're in
other
an
way.
industry where
All
you have to
right.
be precise. And which I do understand what you're saying though. And then as far as the I feel like say you did change industry, like go like forging, like I'm sure you'd love it. Yeah. And maybe you should. But I feel like you'd miss the woodworking. Jess, you're a very calculated human being. And like you know a lot and you're on point is the best way to put it, I guess. I think you'd miss it.
To come from the other side of things, I don't get frustrated that it's the industry that that small of a difference can make a big difference in your project.
Right.
It pushes me to be better. I look at something like framers who go, if you're within a half an inch, it's fine.
Yeah.
A half an inch to me is like you could
that's
drive a Cadillac through that.
That's a whole yeah.
Yeah, that's not an option in my world. What I have noticed is that difference of, to your point, a 16th versus a 32nd is the difference between really, really good work and incredible work. And that is where I start to push myself to try and be better. When I look at projects that I do, and I know you're the same way, Jess, when I look at them, I see nothing but the problems and the issues and the flaws. And most people look and go, this is incredible. I don't know where you see any flaws. And you're like, I see nothing but flaws in this entire thing. And the difference is, because you built it, you're the only one that sees those minute flaws, unless somebody is really trying to dive in with a microscope and figure out, those little differences. I have found I am a much, much tougher critic on my own building than any customer has ever been on my stuff. But I will say there have been times where the flaws of somebody else's work have really impacted the ability for me to do my work. And that's mostly on built-ins, because I got to work off of what the framer and then the settling of the house and then the drywall people and the finish carpenter all did, whether it was trim pieces, the flooring. Like, there are so many ways where things have gone wrong, and I have to make it look like none of them messed up at all. So if I know what I'm doing, they all look like incredible craftsmen. If they didn't know what they were doing and I'm just trying to come in and build something exactly square, then I look like the idiot. And it kind of revolves back to me. It's the same way that I play music, and I know you were the same way. The drummer is the one who drives the entire band. And if you play incredibly well and create a pocket where the guitarist can be drunk as a skunk and literally just hold one screaming note over and over and over, and people go, that's an amazing solo, it's because you were laying down the foundation for them. But if they lay down an amazing solo and you just totally trip up and mess up the beat, everybody notices. Same thing happens in the woodworking in the side that we're doing on the custom furniture and built-ins and high-end finish work. That's the difference of, if we mess up, we notice it and everybody else, it looks fine. If we make everybody else look really good, we look incredible. So
yeah. Well, with football season just starting, it's like an offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was my job as well.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're all are saying. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I agree with everything you guys said. I agree with everything you said, and I do enjoy that. There is something in woodworking, in any trade, where you can take pride in something that's very permanent. That is, you don't get when you work in a data center.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, you just don't get that tangible feeling. But on the other hand, you could have that same feeling and do it as a hobby with no stress and make money another way and not have to worry about.
And that's kind of the boat that I'm in. I just put stress on myself for it.
Yeah. It's like, why should I do something so stressful when I could do something else? And I just think about it a lot. And it's not that I don't, it's just that I've done this aspect of it for a long time, and I'm stressed out and tired of it. I want to do the other aspects, like designing it and more of the sales side of it.
So the good part is, you are finally getting to the point where now you have the SketchUp skills and you have the the skills to go sell and the skills to do all those things because of all the years of doing this, where hopefully now that you have a new foreman who has come on board, maybe you can start to get to the point where all you're doing is designing and pitching and bidding and doing all the things you love and not having to do the late nights and all these things. As long as
That's
the
the
work
hope.
is getting done, that's the hope. So you're getting
Yeah.
there. You just got to keep going.
No, I'm not quitting. I just
Oh,
like
I know.
today. I'll tell you where it happened today. So she bought these handles for the drawers.
She being your wife?
No, she being the owner of the salon.
Okay.
And the handles were 27 and something inches long. They're really big giant.
Those are big handles.
Yeah, well, they were 50-inch wide drawer fronts. So over
Those
two
are
drawers. They wanted one
If
drawer
those
front
are
for
on
two
some
drawers.
doors, those would be some big knockers.
So, and by the way, the handles were, I don't know, the company she got them from was called Pride or something like that. Oh my God, they look like they were handmade. They're so beautiful. These handles were so beautiful, and they're like fluted bronze and just perfect.
Wow.
And they had 3 connection points. Fortunately, my jig that I have, this expensive drawer handle jig for drilling holes in this stuff, was able to take this thing. It's a metal one. And so I got it all dialed in. So it's exactly where the holes were. Everything was perfect. All my drawer fronts were the same size. And I got down to the end, and some of the handles were just slightly different. Just slightly different. And so then the holes didn't line up. And so I'm like, got a drill bit. And I'm like trying to wallow out the hole so that I can get this screw. Oh, by the way, and they only sent short screws, and it was a metric screw. So we had somebody to find the metric screws that were like 2 inches long. It was like a whole nightmare, but we did get it done. And I'm like wallowing out this hole, and the drill bit breaks. And I'm just like, why? This is like a 30-second off, and I can't get this screw in. And I'm going to mess up this lady's $40 handle and cross thread it or whatever. And I'm like, why am I in this business where everything has to be so stinking perfect all the time? It's mind numbing. It's stressful and it's mind numbing. And I sold car parts and made the same money. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I just taken all the joy out of it, because guess what? If I mess up that drawer front, that means I got to go, like, what if I was out of laminate? Then I'd have to go buy more laminate. You know, it just is this, and it's in Tampa and it's an hour away and it's rush hour. And like all these things are going through my mind. Fortunately, I was able to fix it. But sometimes it does go wrong and I can't fix it and I got to make another one.
Mm-hmm.
And we lose money.
Mm-hmm.
I lose money. We lose money. And I'm like, why? Why am I doing this? I could be like, I drive and I see all these people driving to work. My dad used to say this because he hated stucco. Did it for 45 years, hated it. And he would be like, all these people are going somewhere to go work someplace other than stucco. Why am I doing this? And he did try to get out of it at one point, but I still enjoy it. Like, I was making that round the other day and I was like, this is fun. And I said to him, I was like, this is fun. Like figuring out all the circumferences and diameters and doing something new. And I loved it. And it was coming together.
Math. Yeah.
And even if, the math part of it and, using all the different tools and stuff, loved it. Because we actually had to push it out today. I was like, I just can't get it done. And so I had time. I had time to deal with it. I had time to take care of a mistake if I had one, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And this finite precision, if you mess up, it's going to be messed up. Oh, and by the way, you have to hurry. Combined is killing me. And and what you said, Ross, is what me and Ashley talked about today. She's like, look, because we're going to go more towards the remodeling and contracting side, and the goal is for me to do just that and not be like out there swinging a hammer so much as I am talking to customers, designing things, helping people with products, and so on and so forth.
That's the
That's
goal.
the goal. That's the goal. And we're actually talking to the guy about the new website for the construction side of it. He bought TampaRemodeling.com. It wasn't taken. So
there you go.
Yeah, we're going to put the Ambrose thing on there. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, well, that's all in the works. But
I got another.
You just see how you just kind of see what I'm saying?
I do.
Like that one little screw hole could cost us hundreds of dollars. And that's
But do you notice
it
again?
sucks.
You were reliant on the work of somebody else, and you had to make their
This is
work
true. This
look
is
better.
true. But I know, but that never changes.
I know,
That never changes. That's
I
the
know,
problem.
but it'll make you reassess next time when you have handmade pieces to know that everything won't be exact.
Yeah, I
So
guess.
it's
Yeah.
learning from it and moving forward. And I
It
agree.
is it is good to push yourself. I
Yes.
totally get that because customers used to come to Marcots and they're like, "Can you make this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I'd walk back and like, "I have no idea how to make that." I would figure it out, and that was
hmm
one more chink in my armor that
Yeah.
I knew how to do the next time. And you learn stuff, right?
And the other aspect is once you guys get into the remodeling side, if you take that same attention to detail and same
Right,
quality into it,
right.
not only will you be able to charge exponentially more, but your work will then stick for hundreds, well, at least for tens of years, if not hundreds of years, if it is done correctly. People will
Yeah,
keep that as, hey, we remodeled this like hotel that's been here for 100 years, and they're going to keep this remodel for the next 100 years. Like that's
yeah.
that's
I hope
amazing
so.
to think of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that. I like that. That there is something to be said about that, and respectful and prideful of that, and fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just I
I,
don't
I
know.
I got something else to say about that too. So on the business side, I get that a lot. Like, with these cornhole boards, I'm like, oh my God, why am I would see, like people selling easy stuff, sound waves, for example, for the same price that it's taken me like a full week of like full attention to detail. Like it takes weeks to train someone to do parts of it, right? Like, why? I was like, I do understand what you're saying now. Like, why am I killing myself on this whenever I could be doing an easier product, right? So kind of similar, but also like on the hobby thing, like my skin crawls when I hear hobby, or like the few times Crystal's suggested to me that I make woodworking a hobby, which she doesn't think that anymore. I was saying, whenever stuff got stressful, of course that came up, right? Like, okay, so you work, like, say you work 40 hours a week, right? And for a job you don't care about, but it's easy, just for 8 hours, maybe 10 hours of doing your hobby, your passion, right? Like at the end of the year, that's like 20% of like of your time spent doing something is your passion, right? Like I think life's too short to spend like your whole career working towards something that you're not passionate about, right? And yeah, I'll never go back to a desk job, man. I don't care if I make half as much. Like it, yeah, I'm not going to spend my life not building something. Not even saying metaphoric, not even saying
Well,
physically building, like metaphorically, like building a wood business or building. Right now, I'm building XFR business, and yeah, yeah,
my creative side is very strong, and it will get very like when I did do the car part thing, there was parts of it that I liked, but there was zero creative side.
Correct.
The only creative side was talking to people and selling them, and there was
hmm
some satisfaction in that, but that not like a tangible product. And so um, that would I just know it would be a problem immediately.
hmm
And but on the same token, Colton, you've heard the term many times: do something that you love as a job, and you'll learn to hate it. And that's the difference. Like
I get that
you
too.
got to find. I'm trying to
I
get
think it's a
that
fight.
balance because we've went through like all these employees. I've spent all this time training people, and then they quit, or they were drinking, or they did this, or they did that, or they just didn't work out, or they didn't want to work for somebody. And um, the it's like all that time I spent on them is wasted, one ear out the other. And the new guy is great. I mean, he's like a show at one time guy, and he's just, oh, I get it. He knows how to do. He's got more tools, and he's got a fuel chop saw. By the way, the battery powered fuel chop saw.
How is it?
Holy
Oh
smokes!
yeah.
Best chop saw. It's better than a corded one.
Hmm.
It's slow start. It like cuts different. It feels different. It is worth every penny you would pay for one. I mean, they're like
Huh.
$700, $800, but I would buy one. I would buy one. If I did trim carpentry, I would buy one. Because there's nothing better than just plopping that thing on your tailgate and it working like that. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It is amazing.
Hmm.
So anyway, he had one of those, but he's got
you're talking about loving it. Like you're starting to lose the love. Sorry, I'm very amped up right now about this.
I'm just tired of, if I make a mistake, it costs everybody money. I'm just tired of that. That's really
I
what
get
it
that.
all boils down to.
Hey, so as far as keeping the love, like he was actually my old like youth pastor growing up, but he told me something really important about love. And he was saying love, like even for like loving your wife or whoever, right? It takes work, right? Like, like, and after the initial butterflies wear off, sometimes it's hard to keep loving that person or that thing or that hobby. And it takes work. You have to work to keep loving it. Yeah, I don't know. I've had to remind myself that on all aspects, and that's a good nugget for me.
My dad once told me love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably crap.
This is
Probably crap.
true.
Yeah.
This is true too.
I've heard that one too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I understand loving a person because you're two imperfect people, but the other person has to put in 50% of the work.
Yeah.
Correct.
But it's not going to always be easy. Sometimes you have
to.
to work and remind yourself why you love it.
Yes, and I do. I still do love it. Like I would lose my mind if and right. I'm not going to want to like go work a 40-hour job and then go tinker with wood in the garage. I mean,
And
if anything, I would be working on my own house or something like that.
And Jess, I will be the first to admit, as you know, there was a stretch where I had some dark times with customers, and every project was going wrong, and I was like, "Why am I doing this? I don't." To your point, I have a full-time job, and this is supposed to be fun, and the fun was gone for me. And I took a step back and I started building stuff that I wanted to build, and now I'm excited to do it again, which has been great. I have that luxury to be able to do that. The thing that has driven me though has been making sure the details are there on the build and challenging myself with something new, because if I just build, like, I could not do what Colton does, which is, or what Colton had done, which is building the same project, even though there were variations to that project. I could not build the same thing over and over and over. That's not the way I'm wired. I have to do something different. And it's really hard to find efficiencies and be better at something when you keep doing everything custom each time. But you have to kind of take a step back and go, okay, these are the things I love. These are the things I don't love. If I can have somebody else do the things I don't love, I can focus on these other things, or just take the extra time where you can and try and focus on the parts that you do love to find that passion again. That's all I can say to try and drive you.
You're working on keeping the love there. Yeah. Yeah.
We're over the hurdles. Tomorrow I got to go back. Remember that Sarasota job? We had all the problems. I got the last thing. They got the counters in. I got to put this little flip top lid thing on there, and I'm over the hurdles. I mean, some of our stuff's behind, but like I have some cool stuff to build: Murphy beds, built-ins, a bed that I worked on, and it's not like the deadline thing's over. Thank God.
Yeah.
And so it will calm down. I just really hope that, because the general idea is like the guy that I'm working for is a contractor, right? So in the state of Florida, you have to work under a contractor in some sort of structural capacity, or at least get him to sign off for 4 years. You have to work with somebody for 4 years before you can even apply to get your own contractor's license and take the test and all that stuff. And so hopefully this is my in to do that. And either
it's
work
also,
with him or
I was going to say, it's also really nice to be able to have somebody else kind of taking a lot of the brunt of the cost of things off of you too. So
yeah, of course. So anyway, those are just thoughts that flew through my head, you know.
Man, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you brought it up. That was, that's a good reminder and good contemplation, man.
Yeah. And to the listeners out there, I think if you want to help cheer Jess up, he really is into foot picks. So just send him feet pics on his Instagram. Just DM him to him. That'll really brighten his day.
Yes.
So
all the females, no male feet, please.
Oh, boo. I got a heck of a bunion I'm going to send you. No, just kidding.
Females with fungus. Femaleswithfungus.com. Yeah.
The fungus among us. Yeah. Oh, shoot.
On that note, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast. And thank you very much for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoyed every second of this episode. If you didn't, please send all your complaints to our extremely fashion-conscious legal representation at Miranda Priestley and Associates, where their motto is, you may think you're ready for court, but you're never ready for court when you're dressed like that. Let us know when your whole life goes up in smoke. Then we might be willing to help you. For Jess, Colton, and Ross, this has been the Beat Around the Bench podcast, and we will catch you all next time.
Woo!